Welcome to SPHX. I'm Daniel Valenzuela. The future of the Phoenix economy relies on one word, one thing, and that is talent. Our ability to attract, retain, and develop talent. And I'm here with someone who specializes in that, and Philip Potter with the Armory. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for your service, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Armory.
Sure, thanks for coming out. So you're standing in the Armory, and the Armory is an incubator for veteran-led startups, and what we do is just kind of what it sounds like. We help military veterans launch and scale new ideas, new ventures. And we do it here in downtown Phoenix. This is the place to be nationally to create new business owners that have military service in their background. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Now, we've had this conversation before,
Yeah.
why a veteran is just a natural entrepreneur, and why Arizona and why Phoenix in particular is a place to be, as you just mentioned. So walk us through that. Tell us about the parallels between a veteran and someone who starts a business.
Yeah, I mean, think about it for a moment in terms of what you'd expect from somebody who has a background with military service, right? Those of us who wore the uniform we tend to be a little bit more resilient. You know, we've had some stressors and some strains that we didn't have a chance to flinch from. We were trained to work as a team. We know when to lead, we know when to follow. And at the end of the day, you know, we're really mission focused and we get things done. That sounds a lot like an entrepreneur. So
Absolutely.
What we did in uniform, whether we intended to or not, we actually learned how to get past the trials and tribulations of early stage startup life. And historically, veterans have been fantastic entrepreneurs. We just want to continue that legacy.
Mission driven, you follow through, and you just mentioned there are a lot of veterans who are leading the economy here in Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't think people quite realize the depth of the success that veteran business owners have had here in Phoenix. I'm kind of a numbers geek, all right, so I'm going to share some data with you.
Sure, please.
So if you look back at some of the economic pieces of the puzzle here in Phoenix, about 8 to 9% of the adult population are veterans, but we own almost 12% of all privately held businesses, and we generate about 15% of sales receipts and almost 16% of the sales of payroll. So, you know, we're punching above our weight class in that. The issue, though, is fewer and fewer veterans are getting into the startup game. So we're actually having these veterans who have always been very good at what they do, who still are very good at what they do, but we have a dramatic drop in the participation of the veterans. Maricopa County is home to the second largest veteran population in the United States. So we're in a unique situation to build on a fantastic foundation, but we're also in a situation that's a little bit perilous, in that our economy really is tied to the success of our veteran business owners. If we don't step in and help out, I think we have a long-term drain, and we just don't want that scenario. So I think it helps everybody out to come together, find those veterans who are very talented who want to do this, harken back to their skills and to their experiences in uniform, and see what we can do to actually build on this economic foundation.
And that doesn't happen without people like-minded people who go out, and I'm sure you have to have that conversation with veterans to remind them how special that skill set is, right?
That's a great point. I mean, it breaks my heart a little bit. The dominant narrative around veterans right now, I think, is that there's something not quite right? Either we're homeless or we need jobs, we have a hard time finding jobs, you know. Some of our experiences may stick with us, you know, cause some behavioral emotional issues, things along those lines, and all that's legitimate, but it's not the dominant narrative that really holds through. The narrative is that, you know, we're a talented group of individuals. As a demographic, we're much more likely to be educated. We're much more familiar with technology, and we can be highly, highly successful. So that's the narrative we want to create, and that's the narrative that I want here in Phoenix, which is we have an amazing source of talent that has always been here and wants to be here, and let's build on it.
Thank you for making that point. You're right. I think some people have this narrative that, you know, as you just mentioned, the veteran is, you know, homeless or whatever the case may be. And those are heartbreaking cases. We should all do all we can to support our veterans. That said, you're right, our veterans are leading in economic development. They're leading in public safety. I'll tell you that as a firefighter. I have a lot of friends that are veterans. It's a natural place for people to go. And they're leading in many ways. Let's talk quickly about Phoenix.
Sure.
Now, we've had this conversation when we first met. It was very exciting that you actually, as you just said, followed through, and now you're here in downtown Phoenix making a difference. Why Phoenix?
You know, from a personal standpoint, this is my home. Okay, I'm not from here, like so many people are not from here, but I remember the first time I got off the plane, there was something magic about this place and I didn't want to leave it. So I went to school out here. I love the place. I love the location. I love the people. I love the lifestyle. And that's on a personal level. But in terms of what I do professionally, this is the place to do it. I've spent a lot of time doing business in places, on the West Coast and up in Seattle and even on the East Coast as well, places that people consider to be entrepreneurial meccas, and they're fantastic. But you know what? The veteran doesn't quite fit. And it's not that they're being rejected or that it's just that the business community doesn't quite work very well with the veteran community, and there's this gap between the military and the civilians. Okay, again, nobody's fault, no intention, but here in Phoenix, that gap doesn't really exist. Okay, our veterans have been our neighbors. We've known veterans as civilians and as veterans. We just all get along really well. And there's a history of this veteran business ownership, okay? So there's no military-civilian divide here, and there's a really open environment, and it's just conducive for veterans to be successful. And then you lay that with history, our aerospace and defense, and everything else that we have from a legacy of Luke Air Force Base, and Williams Field, and Fort Huachuca, and the Marine presence out in Yuma. It's just really an amazing set of circumstances around the state of Arizona, but it all culminates here in Phoenix.
And it happens to be that place, just as you mentioned. You don't have to be from Phoenix to put your fingerprints on this place. I was just having a conversation with one of the business leaders here at the Armory. It's that major city that's still, in many cases, 50 years or more younger than a lot of other major cities. So we're still shaping and molding this great city. So we need everyone, right? Speaking of the Armory, I had a chance to talk with some of the business leaders here. Talk about an amazing set of skills and talent that's coming out of this place.
Yeah, we work really hard to find the right people, find the right talent. I'm a big believer that first and foremost, you have to have talented individuals. And then once you find the talented individuals, you have to bring them together and just get them in close proximity and watch some magic happen. So we spend a lot of time finding these men and women, and their successes are amazing. So we have a product-based company that built a better garbage can, right? You've heard the old, if you build a better mousetrap, they'll beat a path to your door. He redesigned the garbage can and has a team around him. And this past year, Entrepreneur Magazine, that comes out with a list of the hot 360 startups. They're listed as number 283 with a ergonomic trash can.
Wow.
Selling to Norfolk Naval Fish shipyards. I believe McDonnell Douglas might be on their client list. They're selling to education systems in the heartland. Like, they have figured out a product base. You know what they want to do? They want to manufacture in Arizona. Phoenix is their home. They're not going anywhere, right? Yeah. We've got tech companies, health tech companies who were part of Phoenix Startup Week last week, who are doing some really great stuff. We've got one guy who figured out payment processing, something that I have no idea about, but he did that from a professional standpoint, and now he said, hey, look, I'm so good and people are asking me to do this, I want to go out on my own. And within 8 weeks of deciding to go out on his own, there were San Francisco-based technology startups backed by large venture capital firms calling him up saying, get on the plane, we want to come out and actually pay you to teach us what your knowledge base is. Within 8 weeks of saying, this is what I want to do. The latest that we brought in is a company called AMPSI, who just moved in. They're a little bit farther down the line. They're a venture-backed company that's doing some amazing work with technology and social media aggregation. Those guys, just yesterday, were featured in Forbes magazine. So we only have 10, 11 startups, but each one of them are doing some really amazing things, and it's fun to bring them together. 10,
11 startups in about a year, which is a great success rate, but you're going to grow pretty quickly here in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
How can people keep track of that? Tell us where to go to learn more about the Armory.
Yeah, so that's the plan. You're right. We want to grow. We've gotten some backing for the purpose of scaling our operation, again, which is co-working space, a little bit of mentorship and advisorship, but really bringing good people together. And we're going to go from those 10, 11 startups to ideally 40 in 2018. And so we got to find them, right? So we have to surface the individuals who have the great ideas. We have to service the early stage companies who aren't at revenue yet, and we have to figure out if they have what it takes to be part of the Armory. And the way that they figure out how to do that is really contact us. Website, armoryincubator.org. Go to our Twitter at Armory Incubator. Come to some of our events. So we reach out. We're going to have a community event here tonight. Show up, drop us a line, send us a message. But come into contact with us and we'll spend some time with you.
Well, thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for your service, and thank you for moving our economy forward too.
Great, thank you so much.
I'm Daniel Valenzuela. Thanks for watching Yes PHX.